Good evening. This is the half bushel of apples, Gila apples, that we picked last week. And I made another video where I turned these into brandied apple rings. For this video, I saved all the pills and I am going to make it into apple jelly and maybe apple syrup too, just depending how much apple juice I get. So I basically, pretty much any fruit, if you save the pills and boil it down, you can get juice out of it. And so when you make jelly, that's what you're using. You're using juice. So I need 4 cups of apple juice. And so you just save all the pills, put it into a pot, covering it with water. Not too much water, you just want it covered with water. And then you put it on a simmer for like 20-30 minutes until it cooks down enough where all that apple juice comes out of the pills and whatever flesh is left on the apple as you peel it. So I've done that with peaches. What other fruit did I do it with? Pineapple. Pretty much peaches. I said that. I didn't do pears because I don't know why I didn't do it for the pears last week. I really should have saved those peelings and made pear jelly. Oh well, pretty much any fruit you have the potential to make jelly out of. Any fruit peelings you have the potential to make jelly out of is what I was trying to say. So, oh, hi Sunny. Anyway, let me get started. I am just using my apple, my Pampered Chef apple core, and it cuts it into nice rings. You can use the cores too, but I'm not going to. I'm just using the peelings, and yeah, let me get started. I just peeled my first apple, and these are the skins. So I put the skins in this pot of water, and the water, it's 2 cups of water with 1/4 cup of lemon juice to help prevent the skins from browning. I guess it's technically not necessary because we're just making juice out of it, but to make the pills look nice, I added a little lemon juice. For this, I could technically have left the cores in it, but I chose not to. It's just personal preference. There is apple meat on there. I definitely could have got some juice from that, but I am only going to use the pills. I have 64 apples. I have plenty of apples. I only need 4 cups of juice for the project that I want, so I am just going to worry about the pills for now. I ended up with 2 big bowls full of apple pills. I'm currently using my stock pot right now for the brandy apple rings that I am canning right now. So as soon as I clean that pot up, I'm going to put both of these bowls of apple pills in that stock pot and put it on simmer, probably simmer for 20 to 30 minutes. I gotta look through my notes. I think I usually do 20 to 30 minutes when I'm simmering fruit pills. And then, yeah, going to drain the juice tonight, but I'm not going to make anything tonight. I'm going to stick the juice in the refrigerator overnight and then make the jelly and possibly syrup tomorrow. It's just it took about an hour to peel those 64 apples, and I ended up having a can in 3 batches because it made more pint jars than I was expecting, and it's already 10 o'clock at night, so I don't really feel like, oh, there's my second batch almost done. Anyway, I'll get this on the stove in a couple minutes. This is my stock pot, practically full of all the apple pills, just enough water to cover it, like I said earlier, and I'm going to bring it to a boil, and then once it comes to a boil, I'm gonna lower the heat back down to simmer and simmer it for around 30 minutes. All right, I let it simmer for 30 minutes. Look, it's looking good. Definitely looks like juice. I'm gonna let it cool down because I'm not making this tonight, but I'm not ready for bed quite yet. So I'm gonna let it cool down, and then once it cools down, I'm gonna put it in jars, and then, I'm gonna strain it, put the juice in jars, and then refrigerate it overnight, and then use the juice tomorrow to make jelly. I am straining my apple pills. I just used a colander, a fine mesh colander, and so far I have 4 quart jars. this is the last of the juice. I'm just letting it drip through. And my juice is not clear. I have seen videos where people's apple juice is clear, so I'm just assuming it's because I put lemon juice in my apple pills. I don't know. Not for sure why it's not clear. It still tastes good. I tasted it. It tastes just like apple juice, so I'm not worried that it's not clear. It made, each one of these quart jars is 5 cups. And like a jelly recipe only needs 3 cups of juice, and then the syrup recipe only needs 4 cups of juice. So I definitely have a lot of extra juice. I'm not for sure what I'm gonna do with it yet, but either way, I am putting all these in the fridge because I'm not quite ready to make jelly. I've got some tomatoes that really need to be processed today, and so I am just going to put them in the fridge until probably tomorrow. And I'm just happy with how much juice the pills made. And this is all the pills, all that broke down. Remember, it almost filled my stock pot completely. Now it just fills this colander, so it definitely condensed a lot. So yeah, 4 quart full jars of homemade apple juice. I am going to make apple jelly, and there really is not many ingredients because you don't need to use pectin when you're making apple jelly. Apples have a natural pectin in them. So this recipe is 4 cups of apple juice, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and 3 cups of sugar. So really, you just have to boil it long enough until it reaches the gelling point. And if you do not have a candy thermometer, which I don't, there's ways to test the gelling point, and it describes that in this book. So you just take a cold spoon, dip it into the mixture, pull it out, and then if it sheets off like this, then you know it's reached the gelling point. So basically, how quickly it drips off the spoon is when you know if it's ready. So I'm thinking it's gonna take about 20 minutes at boiling to reach that point. This isn't, I think this is a main reason why people use pectin a lot, because you just have to cook it for a couple minutes, not 20 minutes. But like I said, apple jelly doesn't need pectin, so this will be, let's see if we can get it to set without using pectin. All right, so I got my water bath canner going. So we're gonna combine apple juice, lemon juice, and sugar in a large saucepan, stirring until sugar dissolves. Bring mixture to a boil over high heat. Cook rapidly to gelling point, stirring constantly. Skim off foam if necessary. Now remember the tip of add a pat of butter to help with the foam. Ladle into hot jars, hot jelly into hot jars, 1/4 inch headspace. How often? Let's see. Oh, I covered up my instructions. Oh, man. All right, here we go. 10 minutes. Process half-pint jars for 10 minutes. So pretty simple, pretty standard to every other jelly recipe. The only difference is no pectin. All right, here is my apple jelly. I actually broke down and added a bottle of pectin. I actually boiled it for 30 minutes and I never reached the sheeting stage. So I just wasn't feeling confident that I was gonna get it to gel. So I just added a box of pectin and then boiled it for another minute, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. I have seen apple jelly recipes where people do add pectin, so it still tastes good. I just didn't want to have to add the pectin, but just was not setting, or gelling, as they say in the guide. We won't know if it sets till once it cools down. I boiled it so long that it only made 3 jars in this cupful. Not for sure. I think it was supposed to make 6 jars. Hold on one second. All right, the recipe said about 4 half-pint jars, so I wasn't too far off. So 3 half-pint jars. I really didn't want to have to add the pectin. I got plenty of pectin in this house. I just, I've heard that apple pills and apples have natural pectin, but it didn't work for me. So I'm just gonna do these 3 jars. I gotta debubble them, put the lid on, and then water bath can them for 10 minutes. Since I have my canner going and I still have all this apple juice I want to use up, I am going to try and make a caramel apple syrup. So it is 6.5 cups of apple juice, 2.5 cups of brown sugar, and 1 cup regular sugar. So you bring the juice to a boil, then you add the 2 sugars, and then you boil it for 20 minutes, and then you water bath can it. So sounds pretty darn good to me. Adding brown sugar to something, yum. So I'm gonna give it a try. All right, this is the jelly, still setting. This is the caramel apple syrup I just took out, and it tasted pretty darn good. My husband tasted it, he thought it was pretty darn good too. And I still have 6 cups of apple juice left. So I'm gonna do this recipe again, the 6 cups apple juice, 2 cups brown sugar. I think I said 2.5 cups earlier. It was 2 cups brown sugar and 1 cup of sugar. You boil that all together. I'm just gonna do a slightly different. This time I'm gonna add a couple sticks of cinnamon and boil it with it to give it a little cinnamon flavor. So it'll be apple cinnamon caramel flavor. And then, yeah, and then I'll remove the sticks before I pour the syrup into the jars. So that way I will have used all of my apple juice from the apple peelings. And yeah, I will have to say this is my favorite so far, this apple caramel syrup. So I think apple caramel syrup with a taste of cinnamon will be perfect. And I'm just covering it. That's just the thing I do, so it can slowly come to room temperature at a slow, even pace. I got the last batch in the water bath canner right now, and I will have to say out of the 3, it is my favorite. I just took it out to my husband for him to taste test in his office, and he said it was amazing. So this one I'm just gonna call apple cinnamon syrup. And so I just boiled it with 3 cinnamon sticks. And it tastes so good. And I could have definitely turned this into a jelly by adding a box of pectin, but I chose not to because I really do want syrup. I like syrup. We eat a lot of waffles. I have lots of jellies I've made this summer, and so I really don't need another jelly, but I could use more syrup for our waffles. That is good. I'm just amazed by how good this is, and it was so simple. So it was just 6 cups of apple juice, 2 cups of brown sugar, 1 cup of white sugar. Bring that all to a boil with the cinnamon sticks, and then boil it for 20 minutes. The only thing about it is you have to stay there and stir it, because it will boil over very easily. So it is a lot of work just standing at the stove slowly stirring it for 20 minutes, but it's well worth it. And then I just removed the cinnamon sticks, and it's pretty easy to make syrup. It's just a little time consuming, and it's water bath canning for 5 minutes and let them sit overnight, and then I will show you in the morning, make sure they all sealed, hopefully the apple jelly set, and all this from making juice from apple peels. Good morning. It's the next morning and all of the jars have sealed. I just need to take the rims off, rinse them, and label them. I like how all 3 batches are slightly different colors. So this is the apple jelly, this is the caramel apple syrup, and then this is the apple cinnamon syrup. And that made 1 more extra jar, I think because I didn't boil it as long and I used an extra cup of juice that I had left. I think that's why because basically these 2 were the same recipes, just the difference was the cinnamon sticks. But I cooked it 10 minutes shorter, because this one I boiled for 30 minutes. This one I boiled for 20 minutes. And like I said, I had like an extra half a cup of apple juice. So that might be why there's 5 jars of those. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And that's pretty much everything I have left to can. So this might be it for my canning videos for a while. The only reason I would can anything else is if someone gave me some free produce, or there was really good deals at the grocery store. So we'll see, but I think this is it for my fall canning. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you later.